What was the first business you started?
So the first business was, I started whilst I was an electrical apprentice.
You're Sparky,
So Sparky,
God,
yeah.
Get him out.
So that's what I started. I did an apprenticeship. My dad's electrician.
I done electrical apprenticeship.
Oh, did you?
Actually,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
converted to a plumber.
Yeah. You transitioned, didn't you? Transitioned.
Thought the grass was greener.
Yeah.
So all you Sparkies do, transition, innit? If you're setting up a business, you really want to go on some form of platform to push that business, or some sort of creative thing to push that business, because digital is just the way it's going, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I and that's what my YouTube channel is going to be a lot around. Is, like I said, I've had that quote unquote glamorous type business where all these online gurus, 10k a month, online, etc. I had that business. I stopped that business, gone all in on the traditional business, and played the long game. You know, takes 5 years really to really get it running. But you go into that and have patience, and if you can bring a modern spin on it, modern twist onto it, then there's huge opportunity. And that's not just in the construction industry, obviously construction industry being a prime example, but any kind of traditional business.
So yeah, welcome back to another guest show. Thank you for listening. Today we've got Joe Todd from Pure Project Design and Build. So yeah, thank you for coming along,
Yeah,
Joe.
thank you for having
cheers,
me.
mate.
Look forward to conversation.
Yeah. Normally we know a lot about our guests, but today we really don't, do we?
No.
I'll be honest, Joe, I don't know anything about it.
I think that's the best way.
I think it's nice because then you find out new things.
Yeah, it's the best way. I had it on my podcast the other week with Matt Hall, and I think I'd asked a question halfway through. They'd all done research, and he said, "You don't know a thing about me, do you?"
No.
I was like, "No."
That's what I'm like.
But
But that's the idea of a podcast.
That
We
is
don't
it.
do any research. We don't plan the questions. I think you find out about them on the show and then you think of questions on the spot.
Yeah, I think it depends what sort of vibe you're looking for in your podcast. For me,
Yeah.
I prefer the authentic, genuine
It's like you're
conversation.
sitting at a pub sort of talk.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's
Get
like
the beers in.
Got a cup of tea.
I'm a drinking tea.
yeah, it's then for listeners or watchers, it's like fly on the wall sort of thing. Rather
Yeah.
than, I think if you're like Stephen Bartlett, you've got a team of 40 people.
Yeah.
You can come a lot more prepared and
Yeah.
stuff. But
It takes
you know,
surprising how much time it takes, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, so obviously not knowing a lot about you, might as well take it.
Back to
Right back.
when was you born? Huh?
You might as well give us
He's,
the whole
he's looking a
story.
bit younger than me. Me
Yeah.
and you, Kieran. You're looking
Yeah.
a bit young and fresh
How
faced.
old do you reckon?
I'm going to say you're in your 20s. I'll go 26, 27.
Bang on, 26.
Yeah.
26.
Fair play.
It's good. Before I had my hair cut the other week, I met someone. And he was talking to me, and he's like, "Yeah, you can't be that much younger than me." I was like, "This is an old guy as well." He's
And what
thinking
you said, hang on a minute.
No, he
what
was
do you
old.
mean by old?
He was 48 or something. 46.
I'm 45!
I'm
I'm 45 now. Fuck off. I'm 45.
Mate, you need a shave. What's going
Bro,
on?
mate, it's coming through ginger. Do you know what I mean? I dyed it the other day because I'm getting old, didn't
You
it?
are looking older
See,
now.
he's an old guy. 48.
Well, he's an old guy. He's 20. He's got 22 years on me.
He
He's
must
acting
thought
as
you
if.
look young.
I was,
He must thought you
yeah,
look
there
like
we
you
are.
look older
Do you
now.
think? I do normally look younger than this. It's
Yeah,
the
but
beard. It's
Father
the
Christmas
it's the
or something.
twits look, innit? Out of that Roald Dahl book, innit?
But yeah, no. So I'm 26. Started my first business when I was 18. Started this business when I was 21 or 20 or 21. It's been going just over 5 years now. So
So you started young.
I started young. So
Probably
I
young,
feel
innit?
older than than I am.
What was the first business you started?
So the first business was, I started whilst I was an electrical
Oh yeah,
apprentice.
you're Sparky,
So
isn't it? by trade?
Sparky,
God,
yeah.
Get him out.
So that's what I started. I did an apprenticeship. My dad's electrician, so
I done electrical apprenticeship.
Oh,
at the
did you?
start, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
converted to a plumber.
Yeah.
the dark side.
Transitioned, didn't you? Transitioned.
Thought the grass was greener.
Yeah,
That's what all you Sparkies do. Transition, innit?
no,
Hey.
but yeah, I enjoyed it when I was doing it, but I would. Obviously, you're not earning great money when you're an apprentice, so I would just take any work available, weekend work, evenings. I used to obviously get up early, go do the electrics, then often go straight on to, there was some go through stages of helping tiling with my friend, and then you'd do that after work till like midnight or whatever, back up at 5 and just keep doing that. The weekends, do weekend work, usually Saturday and Sunday, where you work Saturday, that pays for your night out on Saturday night.
Yeah.
You get back at 3 a.m. and then you're back up at 6 a.m. to do the Sunday, which is sort of profit in your pocket.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you're first starting, you can just do that.
When you're young, you're keen, aren't you? You're really keen when you're young, and you
exactly.
Get out and just
so
graft.
I just wanted to just work, like, you know, I had a good mindset. Managed to save up 10k whilst apprentice through doing all of that sort of overtime, and
I've never saved 10k in my life.
Since I started
I've
a
never had
business, I ain't
10k in my
saved,
bank.
but
Never.
when I was younger, I saved for like when I bought my first flat. I was able to save, but since I've started the business, you just always put the money back in.
Yeah.
it was I've always been quite good at saving. I just save at the start as soon as I get it, and then spend what's left, and it's the best way to do it, I think. But also you spend less because you're working more. If you work double hours, you're tired all the time. So you know, apart from going out on a Saturday night or something, but you'd spend not a lot when we was first going out. So you could save quite a lot of money quite quick. Managed to do that. And then at that age as well, it was just always you'd want to wear the designer clothes and designer T-shirts, that sort of thing. And it was getting popular.
Wait a minute. Where are you from?
South London.
Oh, South London.
Sorry.
I was thinking he was Essex boy. Like, for me.
He does give that vibe.
I was thinking he's an Essex boy. I could see him on Towie, mate.
No,
Do you know
it's
what I mean?
south of Croydon.
Oh, right, okay.
No, his accent's more south.
South, yeah. I get either, but South London.
South London, yeah.
So, so then I was trying. It took me a while trying to research, trying to find suppliers. I thought I ended up cracking it, and flew off to France. This was the clothing, the personal shopping business. So basically reselling.
See something on that. Yeah, I'll check your profile out and see something.
Yeah, so I went there. I went to the outlet stores, like Bicester. But there was this ones in France, Milan, and so on. So I thought that's how people did it, but going to all of them. So I went there, spent 10k between a couple of outlets, come back all in, maxed out my credit card as well. So I was literally all in, no money left. And my mindset was, if I've saved up 10,000, if I invest everything and all my additional time, weekends, into this business, and I don't earn anything for 6 months, but in 6 months it earns me £1,000 a month extra. I thought that's a great investment. That's a great business. It will keep paying me then, and I'll make my 10k back, and it will go on and on. And I think having that mindset, being a lot of people want to earn something straight away. They're not willing to not earn 6 months. They're not willing to exactly. So having that mindset, actually 7 months later, I hit my first 10k month, and for what am I doing at work? I'm on my phone all day because I can earn 3 times as much by replying to messages on Instagram. So that's when, and that was just in line with, I waited a bit until I'd just qualified, and then I handed my notice in and I left. But at the same time, at that age, your first business, I always knew I wanted to go into business, very entrepreneurial. But when your first one has good success quite quickly, you feel like the man, you're on top of the world. I thought, this is easy. I'm going to be a billionaire in 5 years, right? So then it was, obviously my dad's, like I said, it's an electrician. It's like, look, let's set up. You're just doing electrics. You've got all your mates around you. So they'd go and do, full renovations, extensions together, where plumber comes in, chippy comes in. No one would earn off each other. They just charge what they want to charge. And I thought, why don't we also just trying to help my parents get set up for retirement and that sort of thing down the line. I said, why don't we set up a building company? I'll do, my dad was old school, no business cards, no sign written ban, no tops, any of that. I said, I can take care of the business side. We've got your experience to sell. And we build that together, sort of thing. So that's what we did. I also set up like an events business and stuff as well, just thinking. So I had 3 at a time. I had Pure Project. It was Pure Building at the time. Pure Building, Pure Clothing, and Pure Events. All was going really well. I was doing like a few days on the tools. It was kind of a mix between, I've got to do my clothing stuff, and then I've got to do some on the building, and trying to juggle it really. And the thing is, at that time on the building, it was very much going and being on the tools to help do the jobs. We started with just a few like small maintenance contracts for estate agents, Mainly electrics. That expanded to doing some, I wouldn't call it building, but there's all mould on the flat. Can you clean that off, change some skirtings and paint it and whatever? So we'd do that, be bloody cleaning mould and shit. And
things at the start, you take everything.
You take anything, and you're just there. But then it got to a stage where both was growing. The events was doing well up until COVID.
So what was the events? What did you?
So that was like house music.
Okay. You was like a little promoter.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. My mate used to do that.
Yeah, so it was. It started well. My first one was like sold out 200 and something people. Same thing. I think that's what happens in business. You get an idea, you start it, you get the initial quick success, which gets you hooked, and then it all kind of balances out. But the first year, I did a few events and it was really good. Had a wicked year lined up. Had like 6 events to do abroad. Festival to have like a mini tent, lots of good events booked in London. Then COVID hit, and obviously that just completely done it over. And also just I think for both the clothing and the events through COVID, I just kind of grew out of a lot of that. Yeah. So I didn't want to go out as much when COVID finished and it started opening up. The designer clothes, instead of being, obviously I was always promoting my brand, so I was in stupid outfits top to bottom, like ridiculous.
So the clothes,
designer.
you go Europe, buy them and just resell them at a higher price?
No, sorry. So that's how I thought it happened when I come back and I spoke to them people in the industry, because no one wanted to help you get in initially, but I think a lot of people, they wouldn't be serious. They saw I was serious. Obviously I'd invested a lot of money. Then they actually showed me the way and said, no, you can get this to your doorstep, you can get new season, you have to do this, you have to spend this much, and so on and so forth. So then obviously I started to get into the actual industry, how it works, make contacts at Selfridges, Harrods, personal shoppers there, people direct at the brands, wholesalers from sort of Italy and that sort of thing that could ship it over. So then that built up where I had all the contacts for everything basically. So, and that was doing well. The events had a great year lined up, but like I say, coming out of COVID, I thought we did one more event. Me and Luke, who I do the podcast with now, he had a bigger event than me. We did one more, lost a load of money, turned out to be an okay party, but then just thought, that's the last one. Let's just call it a day there.
So a lot of organisation.
Yeah, you have to do it if you're passionate about it. And to be honest, I like a night out, but I'm not one of those ravers or anything like that. I just wanted to throw a party, to be honest, and it was good fun for the few I did. So,
you want to do something like that, didn't you?
What's that?
An event, didn't you?
We do the paintball, but before I started it, the vision was like a festival for tradespeople.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So we're gonna do that next year.
That'd be wicked.
Because the thing is with paintball, it sort of limits the numbers.
Yeah.
So I want to open it to all trades.
That would be a wild festival.
Yeah, but not like a proper music festival. More, I don't know. This early stages of thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I haven't properly planned it, but
yeah,
just sort of entertainment, music, drink, maybe some speakers in the trade.
Maybe some speakers. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it? Have some speakers.
You know what I mean? People talking.
Oh, I thought you meant speakers.
Oh, speakers. I thought you meant speakers for the.
Yeah, we need some speakers.
Yeah.
Just so people can hear the music.
That's funny. Some guest speakers.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, so I need to plan it out.
Yeah. Do you know Dodge Woodhall?
No.
Bournemouth Sevens. He's a good guy. He's a wicked guy and a good guy to speak to. We went down to his thing in Bournemouth and we did a podcast with him. Bournemouth Sevens been going I think 15 years or something. Big old festival now. Does really well.
Bournemouth Sevens.
Yeah.
Not a rugby festival.
Yeah.
Oh, it is rugby.
Yeah. So that's how it started. So that's what I was about to say. So he wanted a festival, but obviously you had to think outside the box and add something else. So it started with just rugby. I don't really know rugby, but I think it's just small teams of 7 people or something.
7 people playing.
But then now it's expanded to, I can't remember how many. It's got all sorts of sports there. So they pay to enter. So that brings a revenue stream in, and then they bring all their friends. But it's got like netball, rugby. I think he said even dodgeball this year, and like a load of other stuff. So
it gets bigger and bigger every year.
It's got bigger, yeah. But point being, he added just a twist to like sort of a festival because
Yeah.
you've got to try and compete. So you're not competing against the big guys saying a like for like. You're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
That's kind of what allowed his success. But he's a good guy to speak to if you're serious about entry.
Yeah, definitely.
It's handy to know, innit?
But yeah, it's good. The buzz of it though, with the events
When you
is
create
when you're
that
there.
event,
When
yeah.
you're there, and I was like, this is the best night ever. Like,
You like walking around like that.
Yeah,
McMahon,
yeah.
like-
The thing is, I'm getting to the point now. It's like it's on Friday. I'm like, I'm not worried now, but I know I'll be a bit. You just want it to go well,
yeah.
and then I've got to speak. The first event we done actually. That's sort of how I met you, wasn't it? Because I think it was before Installer. So I just put on a. I don't want to speak about me too.
He was
much
like a
'cause you're
shitting
on it,
dog.
like-
No.
I was so nervous. I just had COVID.
Yeah.
When COVID was around, I thought we'd do this trade apps event, try and get some sponsors, get the sponsors to talk, just to get together. So we just hired out the hall at the rugby club, and I had to speak in front of people, and I melted.
Did you?
Yeah.
No. What? As in, you actually didn't do it?
No, I'd done it.
It was
but
like,
I
it
was
was
like,
like, you know, one of them little like them little dogs.
no one could really hear me.
What,
like,
that are shaking and their tails between
And I
their
got-
legs, and he's just going.
I've got to do it again this Friday, and the last time I'd done it was then.
Oh, really?
But I've done a lot of like networking things and stuff.
Yeah, you got the podcast as well, that
I'm intrigued
helps.
to see how I'm going to react now. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just come out of COVID. Like you was meant to stay indoors for like 10 days. I come out like a day early.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, no way. It's like no way I'm missing like the event. But
I think personal, public speaking's like the number one fear of humans, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
I went to like a Toastmasters once, proper melted. Have you heard of that?
no, what's that?
It's like you know, like BNI, but it's
Yeah.
for like public speaking.
Okay.
So you just go in a room with people, they get you to stand up and talk. And then they would pull in, so there was someone on Zoom. They either ask you a question about something and you just got to talk about it, or they pull something out of a bag and you got to try and sell it.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not really a salesperson. I
Yeah.
said to my mate, I hope they don't pull something out of the bag. And that's what they did. They
Well-
pulled out a bit of Lego.
And you
And
had to talk
I
about it.
went up there, I had to try and sell a bit of Lego, and I just couldn't do it. I said, no, I can't do it. And I sat back down.
Oh.
I never went back. But yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
But yeah, it's getting
It's-
back to go on. What you
yeah,
can say.
no, I was gonna say my problem is with a lot of this stuff is like when I made my first TikTok video. You know, people saying, "Oh, I just need to get on it, need to just get behind the camera, do it, whatever." But I don't know what to say. My problem is my first TikTok video. I think they're pushing long form now a bit more, but mine was 8.5 minutes long. It's like I just don't know how to make things concise. I don't know when to shut up.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to start doing some talks and things like that as well. Same thing. It's like, oh, how can you make it as short as
Yeah.
possible? I just like to ramble on. So
YouTube's going to be better for you then. But then they say making long form content now on Instagram and stuff is getting out there because, like you say, TikTok are pushing long form content now.
I put it in the group chat yesterday. A notification come up on TikTok. You can now post 60-minute video. So
Yeah.
for the podcast to put a full episode, it's worth testing. I bet it at least gets, I bet they're pushing get it a good amount of views so they can get their data. So we're gonna start putting our podcast full episode on TikTok, which is crazy.
Not a bad idea.
So yeah,
Does
try
yours
the
last
same.
like an hour then? Are they generally speaking about an hour?
I think yesterday we filmed for like over 2 hours, but
Yeah.
I was not pressing stop until we was done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
With that guest.
Gotta
So
let it flow. Isn't it?
yeah, but I think if it's just us boys that do it, we're trying to keep it to about an hour.
Do you do it like with just your mates as well? Like
Yeah,
as
so
well,
we-
then? So like we do an episode where it's just us two.
I saw,
having
yeah.
a
So we're
chat
trying to
and
do that. We're trying to make. I think one of the reasons
interaction.
we started the podcast is to try and help us push through our now personal brand. That's what I'm going to, like I said, I'm starting my own YouTube channel. I'm going to start coming on other podcasts. I'm going to do some podcasts on my channel as well as videos and just start trying to push my own personal side of things. So that was one of the main reasons for the podcast. Yeah, when you have a guest and there's 4 of us, obviously you don't end up, you ask questions, you might say a
hard
few
to-
bits,
yeah.
but you're not going to get your personality across properly.
Yeah.
So that's why we're trying to now do it us for, to get that side of things over and the content. And I think that's how people buy into you more.
Get to know you as a person.
digital is the way forward.
Mm.
What you do now, they reckon so like if you're setting up a business, you really want to go on some form of platform to push that business or push or some sort of creative thing to push that business, because digital is just the way it's going, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's what I kind of, and that's what my YouTube channel is going to be a lot around is, like I said, I've had that quote unquote glamorous type business where people, all these online gurus, 10K a month, online, etc. I had that business. I stopped that business, gone all in on the traditional business and played the long game. You know, takes 5 years really to really get it running. But you go into that and have patience. And if you can bring a modern spin on it, modern twist onto it, then there's huge opportunity. And that's not just in the construction industry, obviously construction industry being a prime example, but any kind of traditional business. And the thing is with these businesses, same with construction, I think because of all this online glamorous sort of stuff, less and less people want to get into the industry. And so what that presents is great opportunity if you are sort of trying to be a business owner or entrepreneur in the space. Then okay, yes, it's hard to find more guys on the tools, but you're going to compete against a lot less people and a lot less business owners, because everyone that's got that bit about them goes on this different path.
Where it's probably more opportunity. If more people going online in the construction space, probably more
massive. Like, so for example, using it at two ends of the spectrum with your marketing and your advertising and so on, the actual marketers, the advertisers, people that run your ads and that sort of stuff, their actual ad campaigns, what they're paying per lead is so much higher. And if you saw the quality of the videos that will pop up as an ad, I get them all the time, the quality of those videos and the creativeness around them, how much they're spending on filming that ad, jumping out helicopters and all this to get your attention, the copyright, how good it is that they're paying someone to do that, obviously that's their job, so how they're running the ads is so competitive, trying to get people to now sign up with them, but you're competing against the experts in the industry. On the flip side, you go to what we're doing, the construction, no one really, most people aren't running ads, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. If they do, I see the ads, they're shit. They don't understand about retargeting people and having sort of 5 different videos keep popping up to warm the leads and all of this sort of stuff. Most people aren't doing it, and if they are doing it, they're not doing it very well. And for those that are doing it well, there's more than enough to go around. So it's
it's a massive opportunity, like you say, for construction. If you become a marketer as well, like the opportunity is endless, isn't it? Like you say, not a lot of people are doing marketing for it's all word of mouth, like the old school way. But
I just think word of mouth's great, but and we've got good reputation and we get recommended, but sort of what we were speaking about off camera around being able to be selective with your clients. I might do a job for you and it's £500,000 and you was a great client, and then you recommend, so then I'm relying on your next friend that needs build project. It could be 50k, it could be 500k, like, and the chances of it tying in exactly to whether it's this year or in 3 years, or it's just so unpredictable. Even if you've built a good reputation, I feel like, yes, you could always be busy, but you're busy with every single client's the right jobs. Like 3 years ago, we was very busy and we had a good reputation. We had lots of work. We was never short of work, but we always would have like 1 or 2 jobs that were great. And we'd look at the other 3 around it or 4 around it and think, oh, imagine if they was all like these. And I feel like unless you in the game for like 20 years and people know exactly what you're looking for, then you're never really probably going to get there, or you're not going to get there anytime soon on word of mouth, where consistently it's every single project is exactly what you're looking for. Whereas when you target the marketing side of things and the social media and have actually a plan around that, like you can then get you can be selective and you can end up getting the right clients at the right time, and being able to balance what you're looking for in terms of your capacity of different trades and that type of thing. So right now, and what we've got booked in over the coming months is pretty much perfect. I don't know if there's any of the jobs I'd change out for another job right now in our current situation, which is where you want to obviously be.
It's hard to find, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love this, because you seem so driven, and for such a young fella, no disrespect to anything.
No.
You're very driven. You seem very grown up, and I just think back to myself when I was 26, and I was just at my mate's flat playing FIFA, getting a beer. Go to work tomorrow. Yeah, earn 180 quid a day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so many different such different mindsets to what mine is, and I really admire that about you because you're really going for it, and because it's good, isn't it? It's good when you see like. Young people, like you done it from 21. Like I only just started working like in the game at like say 21, 20 years old, and had no ambition or aspirations to run my own business. And you've had that from like a very young age. So where has that come from? Do you think? Because that's you got something there, ain't you? Do you know what I mean? There's something about you in that.
Yeah, I think it's
either in you.
it's in you. Yeah.
Hello, you wonderful listeners and watchers. Just pumping the brakes on this exciting episode to let you know about Kieran's app that's changing the game in the gas certificate world.
If you're sick and tired of doing gas certificates on paper, then Gas Certificate app is your way forward. But it wouldn't be an app worth talking about if that's it. With no hassle, you can manage your diaries, invoices and quotes for all your jobs, so you'll never be chasing paperwork again.
Don't forget those boiler manuals. I can tell you how many times I've been looking at a boiler and thinking, what the? Thankfully, the in-app boiler manuals have saved me and got me out of quite the pinch.
If it's helped Pete here, then Gas Certificate app will definitely help you, especially with its easy-to-use gas reg calculator and the extremely handy ability to duplicate certs. Brilliant for when you're doing your annual services on previous jobs.
And for the icing on the cake, it has a complete offline mode. So if you're on a job in the middle of nowhere or servicing a boiler in the basement of a building with no signal, you've still got access to everything the app has to offer to keep you working hard.
So click the link down below or in the description. Use the code POD30 to get 30% off yearly subscriptions. That's for all new users. That's POD30 for 30% off our yearly subscriptions for new users.
So at school, was you very much?
Did you sell cookies and that in a play?
Yeah, was you business minded at school? Did you you have little
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've always had ideas of how to make money. My ideas have just got better as I've got older. I always had an idea, but they never used to work. I'd always do stupid things that was bad ideas, but trying to make money.
So you've always liked the idea of a pound note.
Yeah, I've always had that in me, and like I say, I think it's just.
Can you remember your first pound? Like even as a kid, do you remember your first quid you made? Like your first bit of money, you thought, "Oh, I like that."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do. And then I've always liked the idea of then I'm never just content with just that. It's then how could I get my mates?
More, yeah.
How can my mates get involved? How could we all do this? How could and then I remember even at school, like there'd be a few of us. I'm sort of pitching an idea without knowing it. About look, we could try and do this. Let's do this. Like I say, never anything too wise or any good ideas. The one that I remember was terrible idea that just always sticks in my mind because I just think, you hold on to a feeling of stupidity that I remember is, on Oxford Street, they sell you these perfume things in some store that's like closed down. And obviously they're doing the talk, they're selling and they're saying it's like, I don't know, they're telling you it's £300 of aftershave for like 30 quid, you get 5 bottles. I thought, fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
I can sell. I said, I ran, and he said, they're going to go. So I ran over Oxford Street, went to the cash point, got my 30 quid out or whatever, which is probably my whole bank account, gone all in on these aftershaves, thinking I'm going to be able to sell them for, 80 quid each, 5 of those, you got 400 quid. Come back next week, do the same again.
That young Del boy.
Yeah, mate. Get back. The aftershaves smell like shit. They're worth nothing. And
I had the same idea on something, a bit like. So I was trying to come up with some airbrain schemes. I was going to get a market stall at one point and everything, and then I was in Lakeside and this person they said, "Are you a smoker?" And I was like, "Yeah." So they went, "Try this to give you up smoking." So you take a little spoon of it or whatever it was, spray. It's a spray. You sprayed it on your tongue, right? And then when you take a thing of a cigarette, it tastes absolutely fucking vile, right? And I was like, I'm gonna buy a load of that and then dish it out, like or something or other along that line. Do you know what I mean? I took it to my mate. I went, spray that on your tongue. It's all right. Spray that on your tongue and then take like a swift little cigarette, right? Gone like that. She's gone, what? What? She went, this is your genius idea, is it? I can't even taste it. Look, what are you talking about? So, yeah, like you're trying to make, when you're kids, you think of like ways of trying to make quick bucks and it's like easy money, didn't you? But like the only way of doing it is really grafting for it and having a sick idea that's really gonna like come off, innit?
I had other ideas and some, you know, to make bits of money here or there and whatever. But I just remember that one as this one of the stupid ideas, and you just feel like an idiot. But then you learn from those, and next time you don't do it again. And then, yeah, at school, so I started sixth form initially, but then it didn't last very long. And yeah, because at school, like, I was smart from when I was young, and basically, I never used to revise or do your homework or any of that, really. I was just always smart in conversation, but then if you want me to read the book or write anything down, it's like, switch off, can't be bothered. I'd rather have fun with my pals or have a chat. Yeah, just progressively, I guess, as school went on, as more people caught up, I just kind of got less and less smart until like in sixth form. Then you can't blag it. You can't just go into the test and pass them because you kind of naturally think you actually have to work, and so that didn't work. And also, I just didn't want to be there, to be honest.
A lot of people in business don't really like school. They're not great at the tests and stuff.
It's not really set up in the way for you to thrive, really.
No,
so
your school, we were saying this the other day, school's set up for you to work for the man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not for yourself and carve you. I don't feel it is. I feel you're just like at school. They put all this into you. Oh, when you get a job, that's the thing at school. They say to you, innit? It goes, so after school you're going to get a job. Well, why not? Why am I going to get a job? Why am I just not going to work for myself?
Go uni. They pushed people to go uni, didn't they?
You know
I was just thinking. I wonder who sat around the table and said, like, we need to start building schools.
They weren't a table at the time.
When did school start, do you reckon?
School's like
it's all just part of
years, isn't it? I don't know.
I mean, if you research, it all just stems back to just an invested interest for certain individuals. Like, it used to be like they're built now for factories and factory workers, and they used to do everything to get people ready to go and work in the factories. And so, you know, the people at the very top, it's just it's an investment into getting them there, but it's
keeping them in line, teaching them about, you know, religion and conforming to
probably change a lot now, isn't it? What they're teaching.
It's just no, I don't think anything's changed really, but it's I remember another thing that I remember clearly is I remember confidently saying at school to my parents when everyone's talking about what they can do or how much, and I remember confidently saying I'd done over 100k. And I remember them, a few of them saying, nah, no chance, mate. You're not going to do that. Da, da, da. And so, like, from such a young age, people have the mindset where just limited beliefs, looking at other people, thinking, no, you're not going to amount to anything. You're going to achieve it.
But you need them people.
You need them
people for you to thrive. And prove them wrong. Do you know what I mean? That's what everyone needs them people around them.
Yeah.
Because if you've got no one, like, trying to batter you down, you're not going to try and climb your way up. Do you know what I mean? So
everyone can't be at the top.
No, exactly. Everyone can't be the same of the same mindset. But yeah. So I've always coming back to your question. I've always sort of wanted to have my own business. Always wanted to make money. Always just wanted to have creative ideas. Like I say, they've just got a bit better as I've got older.
Social media's opened it up a lot, and it like. You can go and do whatever you want. If you put your mind to it, you can just do what... Yeah.
I think you can just do exactly that. To the amount I've learned from researching, watching, you know, from when you first get started, Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Robert Kiyosaki, and then like people online like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone and all of these guys.
I see you met Tom Skinner, didn't you?
Yeah.
What's he like?
Yeah, I only met him at I can't remember where he was now. He was at a thing, so I just quickly got a short social media video. But we're trying to get him on our podcast. We know Robert Heiss, he's good pals with him. He came on our podcast. He was a great guest, good guy. A couple of people are mates with Tom Skinner. He said he's just hard to bloody track that as they do, but it's hard to pin him down. So we need to try and sort that and get him on the podcast. That'd be a good one.
Him, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah, I messaged him, but I think it gets lost in Instagram when you message him on Instagram.
Yeah. But yeah, he's, you know, same thing. He's just gone at it. He's got multiple business, just hustling, still grafting's done well. So yeah.
So the building company, then you started at the same time as the events. And
I think the clothing I had first. When I quit my job, I think I set up the events, the building. Like I say, the events after COVID, I stopped it. The building and clothing, I continued on for like a year, but then it got
the building through COVID.
Yeah. And then it wasn't that full sort of thing. But then when we come out of it, it was flying.
Didn't you have a bit of? I see a bit of one of a podcast you was on. Didn't you get like? Didn't you get robbed?
That was on the clothing. Yeah, that was on the clothing, which was well, that was actually, it was when I'd sold the clothing, because it got to a stage where we were just too busy on both, and I thought, you know what, I'm not as passionate about the clothing long term. Again, played the long game, traditional business. I know I can take what I've learned from this sort of side of things and put it in the building and accelerate that over the years. I want to get into property developments and stuff like that. So that's why I went, and I realised you've got to be all in. You've got to be focused when you're starting. Focus, build something, then go into different stuff, not the other way round. So decided to go all in on the building. What I'd done when I still had some stock left over, and I bought some stock because when I sold the clothing, I went off to Mexico for 3 months. Whilst the building, I thought, let me just go and I need to just recoup, chill, come back, strategize, come back and go all in on the building. Or I needed to decide what I wanted to do. So I had some stock and I was just going to manage it off my phone, like WhatsApp. I could still supply people some stuff. Had someone would go and package everything up for me and all of that. Anyway, I was out in Mexico, get a call from SureGuard, and it had been broken into, and it was like 45k of stock there, all gone, every last item wiped out. Which was,
do you reckon it was someone
no,
you knew of, or like for them to know that it's in there?
They was at high risk anyway. That's what I explained on that podcast, where basically it was at high risk and they didn't inform us. There'd been other break-ins in other ones locally, SureGuard and whatever the other brands are called. So there was at high risk. They'd broken into like 5-6 before ours, then hit jackpot on ours and just left all the rest and just took ours and fucking rubbed their hands together. So that was just a setback, a bit of a bastard. There was other things.
Not what you want to hear when you're in Mexico trying to recharge.
No, I know.
Probably think I've got that money there.
How far into your trip in Mexico did that happen?
It was probably about halfway through.
Really?
But it's what.
Did you stay out there?
Yeah. I thought, what can I do? Do you know what I mean? It is what it is, sort of thing. Yeah, that was a bastard. And that's the other thing. I had other setbacks on the clothing, which was, it was part of it. It was fine, but
would you look at them as red flags for that wasn't the business for you?
I think. Do you know what? Not necessarily those. No. I just think I looked at it and I thought I knew by that point I knew how hard the building was, and I thought, if I want to go on to achieve what I want to achieve in life, and have the businesses and the success that I want, if I ran this personal shopping business and got that to £1 million in whatever, however many few years, and that's great. But would I then be able to go and build a building company with that same skill set? No chance. If I build this building company to the same level, there's most businesses I can walk in and I know I've got complete confidence that I've built a fucking tough business.
Yeah.
That's brutally hard. The margins are tight. You're relying on unreliable people and all the rest of it. Where if I can make this one work and be successful, then I know that I've got, my skill set's going to be extremely strong. So if I do 10 years in my 20s building this company, if I didn't want to continue in this industry in my 30s, 40s, I know I can walk into a lot of other industries and some of them you'd find so much. If I could walk back into something like that shop and find it a piece of piss.
Yeah.
So I wanted to challenge myself really and go and again play the long game.
You're going to school, aren't you?
That's it, exactly.
But you're putting a modern spin. I think it'd be good to sort of if you can, like, because a lot of people are old school, traditional, word of mouth,
Yeah.
day to day, job to job. So what do you do to, because you're trying to put a modern spin on it, what's your like plan and strategy to like to make it more of a modern business by marketing? Like what do you do?
So I think it's just understanding always with anything, it's understanding what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Now, obviously, in business, naturally, there's times where you're going to have to do stuff that is your weakness, but you need to be aware that I've got a plan. I'm going to have to do it for this long. And when we hit this turnover, this profit, I've saved this much, whatever it is, I'm going to execute and get someone else to do this for me if you're not in a position to do it straight away. So I'd first say, if there's some of these more old school guys and stuff, then you're not gonna naturally, if that's not your strong point, and it is my strong point, you're not going to be able to compete with someone whose strong point it is. So just understand that and try to find someone that is their strong point, so they can bring that to your business. Is the first thing. There's no point someone, that's in the 50s or something saying, okay, he says social media, let me try and build my social media myself if I don't feel completely confident in it, or my branding. But I think the modern spin on things for me is branding's important, how your brand looks. I think you just got to look at it. You need to know what your target audience is and look at it from a client. For us, it's high end. So I look at it from a client perspective. Our branding's smart. It looks high end. Its colours are aligned with high end brands like Harrods and stuff like this. The vans, we've gone electric vans, ticking the box of environmentally friendly and that sort of thing, which is quite important to a lot of these types of clients. The vans aren't offensive. They're not like,
I won't get a job on his company.
They're not offensive. Like if they're parked on a nice road, people aren't hopefully going to complain. Similar to, I looked at companies like John Lewis. They've got vans, but no one cares if a John Lewis van's parked outside. It doesn't look offensive. Harrods, they have vans. No one cares.
This is all things I'd never think of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it's like you look at that and it's just looking for inspiration. I thought, okay, so I can look at John Lewis, I can look at Harrods. They're both vans and they're on the road. And actually, if there's an argument, say if there's a Harrods van parked outside your house, it's like, ooh, what's that? Who's that? It's a kind of keeping up with the Joneses mindset. So I thought, how can we do something and build a brand around where you see our van? It's like, ooh, what are they getting done? Like prestige, exactly. A little bit snobby as such, in a good way. Compared to some of the vans where they just look
like a Nigerian flag.
And for me, I just thought, well, I just viewed it as such an easy win. I thought I can just think of this all once, but invest whatever, half the time you're not even investing any more money. It's just the understanding of that.
How you want your business to look.
How your branding looks on your clothes, making sure everyone's got all your clothes and it looks smart and there's no joggers allowed.
Listen, we don't have joggers in my side of it either. You don't trust blokes with joggers.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So it's just looking that bit. It's not...
It's just having a professional.
It's just professional. We don't try and push it too far.
No.
At the end of the day, it is tradesmen. You want builders showing up to your house to do building. You don't want an office bod coming to do the building, right? So, but it's still, there's a level of just professionalism. The
it's like
first
Pimlico, they stand out like
exactly. Exactly that. And then he took a similar approach. So then our website, and it didn't start looking great, to be honest. All of this stuff, it evolved and we invested in it after a couple of years. So you don't, if you've not started like that, it's fine. Just when you've got some money, then invest in it. Our website looks good. Our Instagram now looks good. And obviously, again, it was something I wanted to get better. So now I've got an interior designer full time with us. She takes care of the Instagram, so obviously it looks much more like. That's why we rebranded to. We started as pure building and maintenance services, and then again, just with how the branding was, it was black and red, and it looked okay. But it was very much set up for that. And for example, some of the clients that we've got now, I know we would not have won it if our whole company looked how it did then. So just that has won us a job that's going to be worth £750,000.
The colours you got look professional, didn't they? Like the black and the brown and stuff like that.
And I just wanted to try and get away. So that's why we rebrand. I wanted to get away from that. Certainly the maintenance or even the building. I kind of viewed it as I want to put ourselves into this sort of different category of more. So that's why it's the design and build, and it's more we focus on that design everything. Anything you're going to see to do with our company, whether it's Instagram, website, vans, whatever it is, brochures, leaflets, it's led more on the design side. So that, I feel like it's a lot more, it's more connecting with some of the higher end clients, but they're not having to go. It's full turnkey service what we provide, so we do everything start to finish. But they don't have to go to an interior designer to recommend a builder, and it's I think for a lot of clients it's like, who do we go to? With us, at Root, we've got the builders. We've got my dad who's been in the industry 40 years. Our site managers have been doing this for years and years. So we've got that. So they're the people you want doing your building. Yeah. But then what people sometimes worry about is how's the service, how's the communication, how's the emailing, how's the professionalism, the design side. But then so what we've done is we've added all of that into this company now. So it's sort of the one-stop shop. And we've just got a nice balance of everything, basically.
I feel like I'm talking to a guy, right? A young guy, a young Alan Sugar. I feel like in a few years' time, you're going to be like this successful guy and you're going to have your own show like The Apprentice. And you're going to be this big, massive businessman. And we're going to go, we interviewed him. And that's when our podcast will finally blow up. That's when we'll get loads of views.
Hopefully. But
20 years' time, this episode will go through the fucking roof.
That's what we say on ours. We're hoping we know some of the people we're interviewing now. At some point, they're going to just continue to blow up, and hopefully that similar to the Andrew Tate. If you'd had him on before we went crazy, all of a sudden your podcast is flying.
Yeah, one person.
So that's it's around that. It's having it's just taking the time to think about. In fact, that's the main thing, having the time to think. When you're on the tools, you haven't got time to think because you have to constantly,
as they say, work on the business, not in it.
Exactly, that's it. And then when you can make that transition, and it might be you're not the right, like for some listeners, maybe you're the right person and you've been on the fence. My advice would be get off the tools. Sometimes you have to take a step back to go 2 steps forwards in terms of what you pay yourself and stuff like that. But very quick, if you're all in, you can make that back up. Just work out. Let's say you're paying yourself, I don't know, $250 a day, and you need to drop to $150 a day, and that's going to be reasonable. It might be you just need one more person to come on for you to make that jump, and then in order to. How many more guys does it take you? 2 more guys, 3 more guys? What does it take an extra job for your wage to get back up to what you want to be paying yourself? Then just go all in on that for 6 months and I'm pretty sure anyone, if they put their mind to it, can secure that to get themselves back to where they want. And now you're on the business. Now that long kind of these ideas that you might hear on a podcast or at a talk or your mate mentioned about, you should have a brochure when you first go to a client. Get a long list of this. I need a brochure. I need smart business cards. I need to rebrand. I need a good website. I need a social media. And just write a long list and then go through and maybe prioritize them. And if you don't know the answer, reach out to someone that maybe does have an answer. You might see someone that's best placed. It might be in a different industry, but you see they're smashing social media. Go and ask advice from that person. You might see someone's branding of a business, whatever. It might be you see accountants and most of them look boring, but you see an accountant that stands out and looks really good. Similar situation. So go and ask them for advice. Most people will give you advice. Yeah. And then you can start go through that, see what can you do, who can I call. It's always who. I started the business at 20. I didn't know how to build a house. I just knew I need to find people that can build a house, and ask the right questions always and know what the outcome is I want. I know where I want to get, but now I just need people to get me there. So I think for me, that was the benefit of starting young as well. I had no choice. If I want the company, but I don't know how to build a house, so I need to find people. So if I want a really good high-end brochure, well, I don't know how to put it all together, so let me find a graphic designer that's really good. And then obviously you always have to have an involvement, work alongside them, and that does take up time. Same with the website. It took hours of my time and some of the copy and the text I was doing and stuff. But you work together with people, and then you can find a graphic designer. I'm sure someone, or you can ask someone, they'll intro you to a graphic designer. You can find someone to build your website, ask someone, they'll intro you to someone that builds a website. And just look for, if 10 people with business, look at all of them. Does one of them stand out? Ask that person. Don't ask just any old person whose website looks shit to recommend you to their website designer or graphic designer. Find a company that looks nice and say, can you intro? If someone messaged me, can you intro me to my website guy? Of course I can. He done me a good job. I'll recommend him. Now you've got the same guy that done mine. If you like my website, just makes sense. You see what I mean? So that's the main thing. If you're on the tools, find a way to get off the tools, write your list, go through, do whatever you can. And if not, just ask the question of who, basically, who can do this, who can do this, who can do this. Also saying like who, not how, I think it is, where that's the question you should be asking if you're trying to build a business. Even now at this point I find myself getting too busy again in the business, not on the tools, but in the office side of the business. So that's why I've hired some, like a really good experienced project manager. I called him. He's run his own business bigger than mine before, and now I can delegate a lot of tasks to him. I've got my PA. I can delegate a lot of tasks to her. I've got my project coordinator, my interior design. Now I get my list. And I think, okay, who could do this? Who could do this? Who could do this? And pretty much I've got the team that they can do it. If they then need my support or help or input, it might only be for the first few times. I can do that, but then moving forward, I'm not going to have to think about it again.
So what's your typical like day then? So day to day, generally speaking, when you get up, you have your cornflakes. Right. But do you go into the office or you?
Mainly, to be honest, no one day looks the same.
Yeah, people ask me, what do you do? I'm like, I couldn't tell you, mate. Like, it's always different.
Yeah, no one day looks the same. It also goes through different phases. So at the minute, I'm not even only very strong inquiries I'm even going to look at the second. So we're not got a big stream of leads coming in. We're not marketing for it or directly for it, just because we're now trying to get set up. We've got a good pipeline of quite a lot of work that we're just trying to get all of that set up, and then I'll go through another phase. And when it goes through that phase, it's most of my days on calls or site visits or quoting. I'm trying to stop doing the quoting. And I'm going to try and stop doing the initial calls. So again, I've said to my assistant, I said, right, next time we're going through that phase, 100 of the calls, sit next to me, listen to me do 100 calls. And this is what I do is the first initial qualifying call to make sure if I feel like they're a right client for us and vice versa, and understand which actually, if anyone's, I know different trades have different businesses, but I definitely recommend that qualifying calls. You know, when you start doing something, and then you look back and you think, how did I ever do it not this way? Like we used to, if someone called and inquired, when should we come? We'd go, we'd look, we'd always price it. I didn't know how much money there. I might be pricing a 100k job and they've got 20k in the bank. It's ridiculous. And then they might ask you to do 2-3 revisions and they're bouncing off 10 quotes. Now it's very much, we do a qualifying call, and if you're not willing to tell me the answers, then we're not willing to work with you. Basically, I want to know how many. Like, are you looking to get other estimates? Obviously, I'll find out where they've heard from us. You're looking to get other estimates? How many? Why are you getting estimates? What are you looking for? So let me give you a scenario right now that I come in 220k and the next person's 200k. What are you going to make your decision off? What are you looking at? Why do you need that piece of paper in front of you to make the decision? All of these types of questions. I ask what sort of funds they've got available or what they're looking to invest. Okay, you're looking to invest 200k, but let's say if it came in at 250, have you got a facility to up that? Like this is what I'm asking on the first calls, as well as what are you looking to have done, sort of, and where you're at in the process. Have you got an idea of design? And obviously answer any questions about the company. But pretty much all of that can be done by someone else. So my assistant, she's great. She's worked in like sales and stuff before as well. I said to her, like, sit down with me, do the next 100 calls. We'll bang them out in a couple of weeks when we go through that phase. Take notes. After each call, ask me a question. Why did you say this? Why did you say this? What's this? Where can I find out this information? What do I say if they said this? After 100 calls, you'll be able to do, I'll sit in front of you for the next 20, give you any feedback. Yeah. After that, I don't ever have to hopefully call an initial inquiry again. Yeah. That would save me so much time. Yeah. So it's that sort of stuff. It's like sometimes you feel like no one else can do this than me. No one else can do it than me right now. But what if you sit in front of me for 100 calls, take notes and ask me questions, and then I do the same for you? Yes, that might be a couple of months. It is hard to let go.
Very hard to let go.
I didn't realise I'm actually a bit of a control freak until I started hiring these people and they're doing something.
I am and it's bit. Robbie, would you say I am? I like to
no hesitation.
I like to be in control of things. Because you're so used to being so involved, it's hard to let go and be. The thing is, it's building trust with the people, like that they can actually manage and do the thing. Like while you're talking, my mind's thinking about stuff now to do with work, like what I need to do. It's just
mine ain't. Mine's not thinking that at all.
But yeah, it's hard. But like I say, then I think it's just that there's a process to where it can work, like that 100 calls, feedback, check-ins every so often. That will then work.
I might start doing that with my clients.
It's so important because people just take the job, they ain't got a clue about them, don't know if they got the money.
Qualifying calls.
Yeah.
Who else you getting to fucking change his tap washer? How much they charging? How much have you got?
Yeah.
I'm not coming out for less than an £80 call out charge. All right.
Yeah.
You're not happy with that? All right. See ya.
But if you do it in a good way, it positions you also as a more of a authority figure. So if they have, then they all of a sudden maybe they had just reached out to just a couple more just builder companies sort of thing.
Builder.
But now they've and if they've done none of this sort of stuff, and now you've done it, now they're like, oh god, there is another level to. Like, maybe this was the wrong decision.
Think,
Hold on a second. Now you
proper.
put, exactly. Now it's like, oh God, I've heard actually stories of builders doing X, Y, Z, walking off. Maybe it's these types of people, and maybe these guys are great at doing what they do, but they haven't positioned themselves well enough up front. Then
it's all competition. That's what it is. It's competition. Is how you set yourself out to win that game, innit? Do you know what I mean? And you putting your things in place. If the next bloke just turns up and he's just got like a pen and paper, he takes a pencil behind his ear and goes, yeah, right, you do that there. And like you say, he might be really good at what he does and knows what he does all in his head.
Just old school,
But on the outside, looking at him, people are thinking, it's a bit like my van, innit? My shit van to his nice van.
I think they're getting their shopping from Asda.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll tell you, and in case anyone's listening that they think, okay, sounds good, but is it really that much worth it? Probably half of our profit margin comes from doing the actual job with the guys that are very good on the tools, and half of the full profit margin of the company comes from what you'd call the additional fancy stuff as such.
Not fancy stuff, is it? It's just it's marketing.
Yeah, essentially the marketing. Then that's basically, which basically means we can double the profit margins of what a lot of people in the industry are making from doing that. Of course, there is overheads with that. But it also helps to ensure that you know what you're going to make. You are going to hit your profit margin. And it's just, for me, it's the only option to make everything as good as possible. It only spirals up.
It don't matter what level of building you're in. Yeah, whether you're like, not saying lower and higher, but different marketing.
Yeah.
You're going to get issues with the job. Whatever happens, you're going to get a client who's got issues. So you have to have people in place. You've got people in place for that, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? You've got people who can deal.
To know actually, like, because you're I don't know if that's the right word, sort of, you qualify your clients.
But you're still going to get some issues with them.
Have you had issues even qualifying the clients? Have you had bad clients?
Yeah, we've had ones, like ones that you miss. The thing is, I think when it's the biggest investment for most people that they're ever going to make in their life, or at least the type of jobs we're doing. Obviously, like I said to you, we are going back to doing some smaller jobs, and we do individual like bathrooms, kitchens and stuff. Like we do our own handmade kitchens and stuff. So we're trying to push that avenue of the business. Bathrooms, we do the full design, supply and install of those as individual projects as well. But in terms of the actual main jobs we do, it's sort of a higher turnover, 150 to 500k prime spot, some slightly more. That's kind of where we want to be for the main project. So with that in mind, that's, apart from buying your house, that's probably the biggest investment most people are going to make in their life. So the emotional side that comes with that for the clients, you see people at, what's the word? I don't know if vulnerable is the right word. Obviously, our job is then to ease them up front. But before they start, they feel like they're in the most vulnerable position. They're handing over all of their money, not into Apple stocks or something that they can trust. They're handing it to a builder.
Yeah, and they're living that as well, because they've got to obviously live in that house with people. It's very evasive, isn't it? Building work, do you know what I mean? It's very intrusive. That's where
so most of the time clients move out because obviously it's the whole house or whatever. But it's for us the issues will come if clients are living there. And I'll tell you why, because the role of a project manager, and the reason is project managers, the reason they earn good money and it's stressful as fuck, is because there is so many micro problems along the way, no matter what company you are, so many micro problems. The role of them is to solve them, and the site manager and stuff, and the client not even know about it. And they don't need to know about it. That is why you employ us. If you don't live there, there'll be 100 of those things happen. day to day, probably small things, but then it gets sorted and you move on. If you're not living there, you'd never know about that. If you are living there and you're constantly going round, then it's like, oh, that socket's just been put in the wrong position. It's like, that would have probably, it shouldn't be there. Yes. And most of the time we try to avoid that, but sometimes something like that might happen. One of us would have picked that up within the next few days. You'd have never have known about it. It would have been made good and, that type of thing. Or, someone cut through a cable, and now the power's gone off. What's that? Wi-Fi, I'm working from home. And now that's a it's a problem. Whereas again, if you weren't living there, you'd have never known about it. It would have been sorted. And it's not a problem, but only because you're living there, it never gets a big problem, but I try to say now and set the expectations. If you're going to walk around site when we're here, you're going to see so many things that just aren't problems. Just ignore, basically. Like you're going to see it because the reason I don't like it, and that's sort of another qualifying question now, is if they're
have you
going
got a
to live
second
there.
home to move into?
Yeah, basically.
Even just trying to do a bathroom. If the house got one bathroom,
Exactly.
that's enough it is, let alone doing the whole house.
I've done it for my mother-in-law, right, her bathroom.
Do you not make them move out if it's one bathroom?
She went away on holiday, but she come back, and when she come back, she weren't happy with the dust.
Yeah.
That I created in her house, or me Tyler mate created in the house.
That's the thing with this. That's the main reason why the smaller projects that we are doing, but that's the main thing where it's like, is it worth it? Is it not? When the clients are going to live here, it's just because even if it's just you don't want every time a small thing would happen, even if they've not said anything, even if they realise that it wasn't a problem, there's still subconsciously something for a minute has negatively they've linked a negative feeling to your company, even for a minute without them realising it. And every time that happens, I just feel like
it could be like this, couldn't it? It could be like, why are you like £7,000 more than the Lex guy who quoted me? Because we're going to send you to Gran Canaria for 2 weeks. So you're out of the way, so we can do it.
Yeah. So overall, some clients, you get on better with than others. But overall, we just try and keep that level of professionalism. And
have you ever had people not pay for big jobs and that, or just
no?
It's been
Touch wood.
Yeah.
Touch wood again. I think we do valuations, so we're only ever at risk of technically 2 weeks. So we take a deposit up front, take a holding deposit to secure us. We take a 10% deposit. I am going to up that though a week before starting, and then we do fortnightly valuations for percentage build to works complete. So you're never at you're at some risk, but you're never at too much risk, especially if you've got multiple jobs, sort of thing. So luckily we've not.
What's the what's your plan then? You seem very focused on this building game. One thing I was going to say, because my mind wanders all the time, and I bet yours does.
Yeah.
Do you struggle to because you're focused on this building game? Do you ever think I could start this on the side?
Shiny penny syndrome, we call it.
Yeah.
Shiny penny syndrome.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah,
before.
we call it shiny penny syndrome. It's exactly that. It's this new thing. Oh, look at that. I could build that business. Like, oh, look at this opportunity with this. I could do that. This would be, it won't even take up too much of my time. I could do this. I could earn a couple grand a month extra, and it's not even going to take up much, all of this stuff. And I've just learned that. So I've learned to when I feel that emotion click out of it, it will be great. You can. I think it's just a mentor of mine said, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I thought, yeah, you're right, because I can. That's the thing. The more you develop your skills, I could get that business to £1 million. I could get that business to £1 million, but doesn't mean I should get it to this, because I've got a business right now.
What your core plan is, and it's not worth doing.
Exactly. And what I find pretty much anything for me, the way I've handled that is now I've mentioned to you about the ecosystem. That's what my plan is. That's what I'm building. That's the next level now that I'm trying to build. And I've kind of naturally done it, so it's not a huge jump, but the ecosystem has to be, it makes sense to our core business. So essentially we would have like the holding company, it will still be all under Pure Projects, but then you'll have the main projects, which is sort of the larger 250 plus jobs. But then to the side, you'll have extensions, which is just individual sort of extension jobs, loft conversion, individual lofts, kitchens, individual kitchen projects, bathrooms, individual bathroom projects. And essentially, I'm going to have them as individual companies. And then it's just about building the structure. Who do you need? Okay, so for the holding company, I need how many accounts people do I need? The interior designers can be there and feed down any designs. I'd have the project management that deals direct with the client, the pricing, the valuations, etc. So you just build a structure of what do I need here? At what turnovers do I need to find more people when each business has hit a certain level? And then for each of the company, you need... What I'm looking for now is, I mentioned to you about teaming up with like someone that we've done a lot of work with, and I'm trying to get at its early stages, but it will be great. I've got a couple of people in mind, one for the bathroom, so he can manage, 3 bathrooms at a time with his team. He's got guys he's used for years. They're good, they're great, they run smooth, and they do bathrooms for us already. But what I want is them to come fully on board, and we have an agreement of this small subsidiary company that he gets a profit share. So we pay him his day rate, same as like I'll take a day rate. It's nothing crazy. And all of his guys will come with him. They don't care if they change tops, and now they're working for Pure. So the thing is, therefore it's not subbies.
They just work for Pure.
Just Pure. So everyone will then just work for Pure. So there's none of this subbing or any of that. They now
that's quite
all
a big
work
responsibility though for you then to constantly find them work.
But for me, that's the bit I don't struggle with. Yeah. So I know I can do that all day long, and I know what they're turning over, and I'm basically giving them half their turnover now, probably anyway, and I could double that straight away.
And he's got no headache because you're finding the work.
So for him, we deal with the marketing, the booking your full calendar, so we can guarantee consistent work. I can double, triple your turnover. We can make it much more profitable. We deal with the client, we deal with the designs, we deal with the supply, we deal with the accounts, the invoicing, so on and so forth. We still guarantee you a day rate as well, so you don't have any risk, and all of your guys. You just manage all of the guys on the ground. Going around, there'll be some involvement with the clients, because where we like to have the project managers deal with the client, but you still need that person that can speak on site very well to a client and just reassure them and so on. So that's your role. Manage like 3 jobs or whatever. And then as we look to grow, if you need someone to support you, we can look at how we can do that and use your network as we look to grow, as well as mine, to find more people. So we've got double the chance of finding a few more good guys to join the team. And you might get, each of these guys might just get to 15 guys. They might come on with 10 and then we get it up to like 15, where depending on what type of work, they can run a few jobs at a time. But they've tested these guys. They've got that relationship. They've worked with them for years. We know they're good.
So he will theoretically be your manager, won't he?
He'd be my manager, but then at the end of the day, he gets a share of the profit. Yeah. And that share of the profit will be better than what I know their numbers already, and it will, because of how we sell ourselves to make sure everything runs smooth, that his share of the profit will be better than what he's doing now. So it's a win-win scenario. It means I don't have to worry about that part. We're not going to be greedy neither. So, our share of the profit is for what we're bringing. Like I said, half of our profit margin is basically what's done on the ground. Half is from the other stuff. And we kind of see it as that, basically. So that's the strategy I want. So I want someone for the bathrooms that I've got in mind. Someone that can do everything, building jobs, but he maybe could do the extensions and loft as a combination for now, or not too sure. But it just means that if we said, okay, we're going to do this in whatever time frame, we might even split your team and half come now and half come in 6 months or whatever. So whatever agreement, it means that basically I click my fingers and I've got 20 guys that have joined my team that have got trust, already do know us. Their manager's got a great relationship with them. They've been working together for years. Culturally, they fit really well. All of a sudden, we've just got 20 more guys on the tools. I don't now need to worry about, as we're trying to expand on this side, worry about trying to find labourers and guys on the tools. And
it's a good idea.
And so that's the strategy I want to take, because, like I say, it just creates a win-win. If you have got a company that's doing okay, but not where you want to be, and you don't like dealing with all that, and you know that if you took on a bit more responsibility of a few more guys and just focus on that, you can manage it and do really well, then it's like, don't worry about the rest, I'll take care of it, and we'll have a profit share on this subsidiary company as well. So that's that kind of strategy I want, because the hardest part, you guys will know, the hardest part in this industry is finding the right guys. So for me, I just look at what's the best leverage. How much of my time, let's say those 20 or 30 guys there, how much of my time, effort, resources, money, how many people would I have to take on to try and get that same team that culturally wants to stay? I'd have to probably try 150 bloody trades, and some will go, some will come, some will go, some will be okay. You hold on to them for too long and you think, I probably shouldn't have let them go. And here, I know they're great already. I know them all. So that's what I wouldn't do if I didn't know the company, sort of thing. So it's great. Like, there's no stress. And I'd probably just saved, I don't even know, 5 years.
Yeah.
Literally just knocked 5 years off. And like I say, my strong point, if I can then not worry about this, above them, there's the project manager, interior designers, accounts and stuff to speak with them. So I don't even really need to, obviously, I talk to everyone, I go around, but as in I don't need to day-to-day manage these guys. The project managers are there to sort them and speak with the clients. That means I can really double down on the marketing, the sales, the bringing more of the right leads in, the relationships we have with architects, interior designers, continually building those, which means I will be able to continually feed this sort of funnel. So that's the plan. And I just think it's to get to, once you've done something, you know you can do it
You've
again.
got the blueprint there.
Exactly. And so for each of those companies, I've already done it on an individual basis. I've just not done it all now at the same time and breaking it down and knowing what targets I want. But I know I can get to £1 million on any of those businesses, and obviously a few on the main one. And all of a sudden, that's basically what my first target is, the 10 million ecosystem. It's not going to happen completely overnight, but that's my goal now. Yeah. So that's basically what I'm trying to now get set up. And the first part, as soon as I get the people, I think it will take me 12 months to get the turnover, because I know I can win the work, but it's just getting the people that could actually facilitate that in a calm manner.
Don't look at me.
And the right structure. It's
Yeah.
So
Cool.
So that's it. That's sort of that's the goal. That's what we're aiming for. It's
exciting stuff. Yeah,
it is,
good, mate.
I think it's been good to listen to.
Yeah, no, it's
Joe,
nice to have a.
It's nice to hear someone putting on a modern spin.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go into online stuff, but you're just putting that into
this traditional industry.
You've got a lot of creativity about you, and obviously very optimistic, but very driven, and you got a lot of qualities that I wish I had when I was younger. Because I think it'll be very successful.
Appreciate it
in the next few years.
And I think for if anyone's listening, like I said, it's knowing what your strengths or weaknesses. Let's say there's someone that's quite entrepreneurial listening, but they haven't got all the experience, and they're thinking, that's what I looked at. I thought, I know I wouldn't own a company, but I know in this industry there's a lot to learn. It's going to take me 20 years to get that experience to technically be my own boss of a big building company. I thought that's too long for me. So if you're an entrepreneur and stuff, look and think, right, same tactics as me. Find someone that's got the experience, everything you need on the tools, and you just drive that side. And on the flip side, if you're someone that's on the tools, you've got all the experience, just go and present an opportunity to someone that's, got a different background, that's more on maybe they come from a project manager background or something. Just try and set yourself up where you're a bit of you've got different strengths and weaknesses and come together. You don't need to be able to do all of it. It's that's what I'd say.
It's been a great conversation.
I appreciate you having me on. It's been good.
Yeah, cheers for coming on. But thank you. You've also got a podcast.
Yeah, what's the name of the podcast?
The Multipliers Club.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Multipliers Club. I think on Instagram it's like multipliersclub.podcast. We've got and then Pure Projects _ on Instagram as well. So that's the two socials.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on,
thanks
mate.
for coming on, Joe. Nice to meet you.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm excited to see your journey.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. All right, this has been another episode of Off the Job Podcast.
Thanks for watching the show on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and all other streaming platforms.
If it's your first time watching or not, make sure to subscribe below and follow us on all the big social media stuff like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
For our overtime show on Monday, send us in your stories and comments for it to be read out on the show. Send it in via email, direct message through our social media accounts, or WhatsApp us on 07457 406 259.
And we'll see you on the next episode.